Today's video I'm going to go over this workbench that I built. I've got the idea off on the internet and then tweaked it a little bit. And if you're interested in seeing how and why I did things and what materials I used, then go ahead and stick around. Alright, first thing we're going to go over is the top. I built the top out of 2x12, and this is actually 2x12 drop that comes off from the end of rafters. When a carpenter does his end cut for the rafters, this is what was left over. This piece here just happens to be 15.5 by 22 3/4. 2x12. That's a pretty nice chunk of wood. A lot of times they're smaller, and they'll give them away for kindling wood and stuff like that. This was a little bit too big for kindling wood. I really had a hard time getting ready to cut this stuff up. So I just laid it in here, and you can see that's how I did it. I just staggered these pieces. There's 22 of them all together. They're 11 long, which gives me a length of 10 foot 4 inches, butted up together like that, and it's 39.5 inches from the wall out to here. It did come out just a little bit farther, but I cut it back so that it was even with the front of the legs, just because I thought it looked neater, and gives me just a little bit more room. We can fit another vehicle in here if we have to, and gives me more room with the doors and everything if we do that. So that's the top. Basically flip-flopped on there, pre-drilled, and then screwed down to the framework. In the middle here, you can see I've got one screw in each of these. I thought that might be a little bit too tippy for it and not support it. So what I ended up doing was made a strong back out of 3 2x4 10s. They're just 2 on each side, 1 in the middle, and screwed right through here, and then screwed in from the ends, and that's plenty strong enough for these to sit on and not tilt or anything like that. Might come back and fill these holes in. I haven't decided yet. It's a workbench. It's not a kitchen table or anything like that. So the top is 2x12, sturdy as it gets, and it was all free. You can't beat that. The next shelf down here, I haven't decided yet. If I'm going to use the leftover, I still have enough to do one more bench top on the other side of the garage, or I can put them down here. I think I'd rather have these 2x12s as the top. So I think I'm going to make another one just like this on the other side, but have an opening in the middle for a rollaway, or possibly on the end, we'll see. But this here most likely will be plywood, and I'll put strength members running across like that for support, put the plywood right on top. It's already really strong. I just don't want the plywood to warp down or anything if you put heavy objects on that shelf. It's screwed into the wall back here, right into the studs, 16 inches on center, and so is the top one up here. The height I made before I started, I wanted to make sure that a cooler could slide in and out of there, and also those Rubbermaid boxes, they will fit right in underneath here and in the shelf as well. So that was my purpose on making all these, and my thought process was to think what I wanted to store in this area and this area, and those storage containers are handy. So the overall height of this is about 40.25 inches, just to get those dimensions that I wanted. Now, I mentioned I saw a picture of one on the internet. It wasn't plans or anything, just somebody's workbench, and they had used 2x6s on the top and down here. It looked really nice. They did their legs like this. They also either sanded them down like I did, or routed them. I'm not sure, but they look something like that, comparable to it. But they only had one 2x4 coming down, and I wanted it to be a little bit sturdier. So what I did was just put a brace down here so that this is actually resting right on that, and then right here, so this framework is resting on that as well. So it's super sturdy. It really tightened everything up and supports everything. This thing is sturdy as it gets. So that's about it. The dimensions of the top are 10'4" by 39.5", and it's 40 inches tall, like I said. It's a nice bench, good and solid. It cost about $60, maybe a little bit more. I bought a big box of screws when I did it. I didn't have any, so I bought a bigger box than I really needed, but that's basically it. One more plus about doing it like this is after I put the shelf in there, this piece here is flush with this piece here. So if I wanted to, I could put a piece of plywood in the front and cut out for doors, drawers, or whatever. It'd hide all the framework for drawers and things like that. So I left myself options to expand later on to fancy it up a little bit. Alright, well, I hope this video helps anybody that might especially have access to some drop like this, or maybe you'll keep your eyes open for it now. You see somebody building a house, you can swing in and ask them if you can take some of it for kindling wood or building stuff, whatever you want it for. But it worked out really well for me. Perfect timing, saved me a bunch of money because the 2x12s are expensive. A little more bracing, a little fancy design in it, but what can you do? Alright, well, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. Click subscribe and like if you want to, and see you on the next one.